Hello and welcome to our channel. This tutorial is designed for everyone from complete beginners to professionals without using any complicated jargon. We are going to explain what Microsoft Excel is in simple terms. If you ever wanted to become an Excel pro and create reports, you are on the right track. By the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to work with Excel like a pro, and there are two key reasons for that. Point 1, we'll start with very basics of Excel using real data examples to cover most of the important features. We'll go from basic formulas to advanced one, explore filters and subtotals, dive into power queries, work with tables and name manager, create pivot tables, design charts, build financial reports, and even create dashboards. Point 2 will also teach you keyboard shortcuts that can significantly speed up your Excel work. Instead of just listing shortcuts, we'll use them as we go along. Learning shortcuts in context can be a great way to remember them. While we aim to cover a wide range of Excel topics, we cannot cover everything in a single video. For example, we won't dive too deep into Power Query or teach you how to use VBA. These are complex subjects that require their own dedicated tutorials, which we'll cover separately. So without further ado, let's get started. This video is focusing on very basics of Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is a most powerful tool used for managing data and creating spreadsheets. It's very versatile software program developed by Microsoft, and it is used for various purposes including data analysis, calculation, data organization. Once you open Excel window, you can see something like this, and you click on blank workbook, and this is a blank Microsoft Excel. Now let's start with very basics. This window or this file is called a workbook. It's like a digital notebook which holds all of your data. You can think of it as a file. Each workbook consists of one or more worksheets. You can see this sheet 1 here. This is sheet 1. And you can think of a sheet as a page in notebook. You can have more than one sheets for different type of data or information. If you want to add more pages or more worksheet, or we simply call these tabs or sheets, you have to go here and press this plus button, which will add another sheet. Now this is sheet 2. If you want to work with sheets or worksheets, you can add more sheets like this. You can right click on the name of sheet. What we can do here is insert more sheets, delete this sheet, rename this sheet. For example, you have different type of data. On one sheet you want to insert data, and on another one you want the output, maybe a report. Then you'll name these sheets accordingly. We can move or copy sheets, move to another workbook, or move in between these sheets. You want to move this sheet 3 at the start of this file. We won't go very deep into everything, but I'll just try to cover enough details. We can color these sheets just for ease of use. We can hide or unhide these sheets. Let's delete these sheets here, and for now we'll just work on this sheet 1. Each worksheet consists of rows and columns. The horizontal columns are labeled as A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on, while the vertical rows are labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we zoom a little bit and click here, then this box or a cell is intersection of column E and row 4. So we call this box as E4. You can see here, this is called name box, and this is already representing E4, which is the name of box by default. What's in there is, you can directly see here if there is anything, or you can see here, this is called formula bar. Let's enter data in here. I click on A1, and inputting a data is very easy. Like, we just start typing country and I press enter. Now the selection moved to A2. Let's go back to A1, and this is a data entered in this box. You can also see in here this formula bar. Now it says this is country. Let's say we want to enter more data. Just to show you, I'll say date, and instead of pressing enter, because let's say I press enter, then it moves to next row. I will click here in C1 and we'll type something else, just an example, and then I'll press tab from keyboard, and now you see it moves horizontally. It moved to next column, and I'll just type a few more data in there, and this is how we can simply enter any data in here. That's it. There you have it. Microsoft Excel is all about spreadsheet, workbooks, worksheets, rows, columns, and cell. It helps you manage your data and make calculations and organize your information effectively. I'll show you how to input more data in here. For example, in this case, we typed these headings in row 1, and let's say we want to enter more data, and I'll just type again. It was said that you have to just be in the box or cell where you want to enter data and just start typing. So I'll type the country name, and then I'll press tab. Now in this date column, this is something you have to understand, that whenever you enter some data in Excel, it automatically detect the type of or the format of the data you're inputting. In this case, let's say we want to enter 29th of April 2019. Just an example, I want to enter this date in here. How will I enter this date? There are many ways. Let's say I'll do this 29 space APR space 2019, and you can see that there are dashes in there, and it automatically picked it and matched it with the date. And if you see this formula bar, then this is showing what is in there. You can see clearly that this date shown in formula bar is a bit different in formatting, of course, to this one here. This is where formatting is considered, because actually the date is 29th of April 2019. You have to first understand the most important aspect of the date, especially in time. You have to go to the right bottom of your computer to see the taskbar where your date and time is showing. You can see what is the format of the date in there. For example, it's month, day, and year, or it's day, month, and year. In this case, you can see this is day, month, and year. So you have to consider this, and it depends totally on the date format of your computer or Windows or operating system. To undo whatever you type, you have to go here and press this undo button, or you can press Ctrl Z from your keyboard. I'm just doing this to give you many type of inputting data for date. We type 29th of April 2019. Let's say I am typing 29/4, which is April, and 19. When I press enter, you see this is still 29 4/19, 29th of April 19. If we go back to this box, then now this format appearing in the formula box is same as this box. Why is it so? Well, this is because you have to go here. This is called number format. You click here and you can see that it represents the date. We'll talk about the other bits later. It is talking about short date, long date. If we click here, let's say, then it will represent this date as 29th of April 2019. We have more formattings, but this is just basic formatting. You can see here. If you go for more number formats, then you can see a lot of date formats and other formats. So all it depends is what you selected as a formatting, and you can enter date in many ways. For example, I type 29/4. It says 29th of April, but what is the year? Let's go here again, click here, and you can see it says 2023, but it is still not showing this year because you only type date and month, not year. But since this is 2023 as per my date in my computer, then it will automatically consider that the year is 2023. I can click here again in custom and select short date or long date, and it will show me 23. We can type the date in a certain format. We don't have to type the year if it is the current year. But let's say I want to show this date as this format in B3. For all these, the selection, if it is selection, then I'll select these two boxes. If I want to and see this column B as date formatted, whatever I want, then I'll select whole column, go here and click short date. Now even if I type something like 15/9 and press enter, then it will automatically enter 23, and it will also show us 23 because all of this column has the same format now. This is how date format is being picked up. Text is pretty simple. It says general. This is general format. Let's type few more text. Now I want to enter the quantity sold, which is, I don't know, maybe 47. Now it is aligned on the right side, and this one is aligned on the left side because this is text and this is number. Let me show you a few more things here. I type 600 is sale price and 400 is purchase price. The 6 and 400s are US dollars. I want to represent these numbers as US dollar. So what I'll do is I'll either go here and select the currency, or maybe there is another currency box here, and I'll click here. These are just few formattings you can click and use. But if you want to open this complete box, then you can click this small arrow button here, which is called number format. Or there is a short key for this, which is Control+1. Then it open format cells. Let's say we want this to be shown as currency. This is currency. Do you want to see as decimal places? Yes, no, you can change that. Do you want to select whichever currency is this? Let's say I select this is USD. I can also select this, which in case if there is a negative number, then it will be presented as red. Let's click OK. So now you see this is being represented by currency, and it tells us that this is dollars. This is how we enter data, also considering the formatting of numbers. And we can change these formattings to, let me give you a quick view of other formattings. We can have general number format, then numbers in which we can have a decimal place, a separator, or colors. Then we have currency with symbol, accounting, date. You can have all of these date formats, any of these. Then we have time, percentage, fraction, scientific, text, special, and customs. So these are all number formats we can use for any of the data we entered. Now let's go to the next part. I want to copy this USA down here instead of typing, because let's say this data is huge data and you don't want to type everything again. I'll go here, right click, copy. One way. Another way is a copy here. Another way is to press Control+C. Then this moving dashes means that this is being copied. I want to paste it here, so I'll click here. Now The clicking is also being, you can use your keyboard to do this moving of your current selection. And we can do this from the arrows from your keyboard. If we move right, left, down, up, we can also move the selection using our arrows. So I'll just move this here. I can do a paste from here, or I can right click and do a paste, or I can do a control V. There are other paste options. We'll go to these in a bit. You want to copy this to few more rows, then I can do a copy. Click here. While holding the click, I'll just drag this box to whatever boxes I want to copy, and then I'll leave my left click and I can do a paste. There are 3 ways of pasting. The easier one, keyboard one, is Control V, and there you go. Now let's say you want to copy these more, and maybe using another way. Once you go here and at the bottom right of the selected box, your mouse changes to a plus. You click here, and while clicking, drag this down to whatever number of rows you want, and once you leave, it will copy. So these are all ways to copy the data. But this dragging has some other aspects also. We'll see these later when we do a advanced copy paste. So let's enter a few more data in there. I want to copy this format. I just copied this data. Now I want all of these amounts to be shown in dollars. The one way was to simply go to here or click Control 1 and change the formatting, just like we did for these two. Instead of that, I want to do, we can use this format painter. Now it's again telling that this is selected, and your mouse is telling a format painter icon, and I'll click here and we'll drag till here, and the formatting changed. This was one way to do that. I'll just do an undo. There is another way to do that, and that is to copy this, select all of this, go to advanced paste from here, or right click here. You can go to paste spatial, and these are all things you can do, but there are more. If you go to paste spatial, then that shows you everything you can do with this paste spatial. Now we don't want to copy the numbers from there. Instead, we only want their formatting. So we'll click here, formats, and click OK. Now formatting is only copied because you can see these numbers are different. This is how you can do the formatting. You can see this number here, there is a problem, but since this number is bigger than the width of this column, if I just hover my mouse there for a few seconds, it tells me that it's 1200. So how can we do that? You can move your mouse here, click and drag, and now you can see these numbers. This was one way to adjust the width of a column. Or maybe you can see that this is something written in there, and you can see here it is salesperson, but you cannot see the rest of the text. You can again click here and do like this. Another way would be to do as go here and just double click. It will automatically adjust to the maximum width needed. Another way of doing this would be to click here, go to format, do a auto fit column width. That was the double click which I did previously, and that's it. You can also do the auto fit on a certain box or maybe selection. For example, in this case, I want to do auto fit. Now let me tell you a tip here. If I move my mouse here to copy, it says this is copy, of course, and then it says the shortcut is Control C. You can see this in the box. But there are many buttons. There is no shortcut for them. What we can do if we don't want to use our mouse and just, get used to using the keyboard to look very professional, you see we were going to format and do a auto fit column width, and we want to click this but without a mouse, and there is also no shortcut directly like Control A, B, C or whatever. What we can do is we press Alt button from keyboard, just press and leave the button. Now you can see this top bit here. There are a few boxes with numbers or alphabets in there. we want to go to Home tab. So I'll click H from keyboard. Now we are in Home tab. Now we want to go to Format, and it's O. So I'll just do O from keyboard. And we want to do auto fit column width, which is I. So I'll just press I from keyboard. I know this is a bit of, you would say, I mean, I can do this with my mouse easily. Yes, you're right. But with the time, there are some things you have to do again and again, like this column width. I don't even sometimes remember where is this auto fit column width, because I'm used to doing this. I know that if you want to adjust your column, all I'll do is click here, and then I'll press Alt HOI. Not combine button, but one by one. Alt HOI. So this is how I normally do, and there are a lot of keys which I've been using, and now I just feel more confident and time saving on these keys. There is another benefit of this. If I want to make this column width equal to category, I don't want this living room to be displayed full, but I only want to see this category, and if it says living or something, then that's fine. So what I'll do is I'll just click this category D1, I'll do Alt HOI, and now you can see the column width is adjusted with this category. Let's say my data is huge in columns and I want to display it in a certain print range, a visible range, instead of scrolling right or left. So this is how you can do Alt HOI, auto column width. You can use it also for height. Two more keys I want to show you are, since we are trying to also learn some keyboard shortcuts of moving things here and there, like I want to click here, I want to click here, but I want to use my keyboard instead of mouse. What I'll do is I can move this up, down, left, right, just like I said, from arrows, but I want to move this to A1. What I'll do is hold Control and press Home button from keyboard. It will move to the first cell and column, which is A1. If I do a Control End button, then it will move to the end of the sheet till we have data in there, not the end of all of the sheet. There are like thousands of rows in there. Now let's go back to the top using Control Home. Let's say I know I can do this and go to the end, but it will take a lot of time, like maybe we have a lot of rows. So if you want to move to the end, you hold Control button and press down. It will move to the end of the list. If I click Control up, then it will move to the top. If I click Control right, then it will move to the end of the, if there is any blank box, then obviously it won't move past that box. Also, if you want to select something, then for example, I'm here, instead of dragging your mouse, you can do a shift and click down, 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 maybe right, maybe left. So this is how you do the selection. Once I leave the shift button, and that's it. This is selection. What if I want to select this till the end of here? I can do I can hold my shift button and click here, or I can do shift button and do it down, 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 or I can do a control which moves our selection to the end of row or column, and also I'll hold shift. Then if I go for down button, then it will move to the end. Same is for left, right, up, down. Control move to the end, shift also does the selection. And last thing I want to show you is, let's say I want to auto fit column width and I want to select this column H. You would say I will go here and click. But what if you want to do this from your keyboard? All you have to do is to hold Control and press space. This way it will select the column, and then we'll do Alt HOI to automatically fit the width. We can also select a row using shift space. Column is Control space and row is shift space. This formatting, let's say this row here, we can click here or do a shift space to select the row. I want to make these text look bold. I will click here, or I can do a Control B. I can use this For italic, underline, I also want to wrap the text. Wrap text mean if the width of your data is more than column, then it will move to next row like this. And now you see everything is touching the bottom. Let's move this to center horizontally and vertically. Now it looks good. If you want more, you can increase its text size from here or decrease from here, or you can select these numbers or whatever text size you want. Let's say this is enough for us. You want to change, you can change the font and so on. There are many things you can, have a look. You can also have a quick look of these headers numbers. Let me select this till the end here, and I'll do a border all, and I will also do maybe a color like this or this. This is our header now. I will move to A2. We'll do a control shift right and down, and we'll do a control HOI, which is auto fit column width, because I used wrap in here and there is no wrap in here and I don't want a wrap in here. Now everything is fitting to its best width, but this doesn't seem good. So what I want here is I want this country to be displayed like this. I'm manually doing this. I want this quantity to be look like this. This is a good presentation. Formatting, numbers, styles. Let's move to a quick formula. I will do equal here. When you press equal in any box, then it means you are doing a formula. Now we want to select this quantity. Total sale would be quantity sold multiplied by sales price, and quantity sold is F2. So we'll click here, and now you see this is selected. You can also see this says F2 because you clicked on F2. Also in this formula box it says F2. Now multiplication sign is the asterisk, which is shift 8 from your keyboard. We want to multiply this with sales price, which is G2. Once we press enter, now you can see it gives us 28,200. If we go to this box, then if you look at formula bar, let's click here. It says this is F2 multiplied by G2. Once we look at this I2, it tells us the output. So this is how formula works. For example, I want to change this quantity to 50. This was 28,200. Let's change this to 50. You can see this change to 30,000. So this is how it works. You enter the formula, and now whenever the data changes, your output will change accordingly, because it is not 30,000 in here. Instead, it is a formula, as you can see here in your formula bar. Now let's say we want to do the same for all of these. We won't be doing that manually, of course. First thing would be to copy this and click here and do a paste. Control C, Control V, you know the shortcut. But if we paste here, you see instead of 30,000, it says 12,000. Let's go to formula bar, click and see. There are many ways to double check that. Let me show you. You can double click and it will show you. You can click here in the formula bar and it will show you what's in there. Or you can press F2 from your keyboard. So you can do however you like. And you see instead of F2, it is now in F3. And instead of G2, it moved to G3. This is how your formula works. Whenever you copy paste, it moves the boxes to their relative position, because this was here and it moved down, and so the formula, the boxes also moved down. This was one way to copy it. Let's do another copy. Now you know how to copy. You can also drag these. Let me show you another function which is called paste special. You already did that, but there are some other things I want to show you. If you click formula, then it will only copy formula. You would say, what's the difference? I mean, once we did a copy, then it still copied the formula. But if you do a formula, let's see what it will do. Press OK. You see this one here still moved formula, but it didn't copy the formatting. So this is where you want to just copy the formula in there, but not the format. It was a $ with a comma and 2 decimal places, but this is the general format. You can also look here. It says currency in here, number format. and if I move to there, then it says general. Let's undo and again do more things in there. You can copy values. What is value? Value is 35,200. It will copy 35,200 in there, and you can see in formula bar that there is no formula in there because it copied the value. This is how you can do many of these page special features. You can copy values, you can copy format only like the $sign. You can copy comments and notes. If there is any comment, you can do a comment by right clicking on a cell and insert comment. Validation, we'll go through that later. What is validation and so on. I mean, these are not very difficult, but you can try these. I mean, column width is what was the width of that box which you copied. Formula and number formats, values and number formats, and so on. You can also do add, subtract, multiply, divide, and transpose. We'll go through these in details in maybe later videos. But for now, this was it. Now let's drag this. We can also copy paste. Maybe we can copy and then select and paste, or let's say I'm using my keyboard, I'll do a copy. I want to move to the end. What's the best way? Well, I think go left, do a control down, right, control shift up. There is another way to paste, and that is called enter. Once there is something copied and it is selected and there is a dashes moving around it, you do an enter. And that's it. It copied everything, and you can see these numbers. These tell you that the formula is copied. Let's check randomly. Yeah, fine, fine, fine. This data is now increased up to 618 rows. This is a sample data. You can see that this formatting is not there because this is these are new rows inserted. Now we want to apply this formatting to all of these rows. So what we can do is we go to right till all the columns where we want to do the dollar formatting. I'll do a control space. We'll go to this one here and dollar. Now let's copy paste this formula. If you have certain data on right or left of a column, like in this case, then you can either drag this down or copy paste as we did in previous videos, or we can simply double click and this will go down till the end of right or left last row till where we have data. So I just double clicked and this went down. There is another thing I want to show you. While I'm here looking at this row number 618, I cannot see what is this, or maybe what is this or this, because the first row here is not visible, which was the headers. Now let's go back to the top, control home or Shortkey, and we want this row to be appearing even if we scroll down to the bottom. If you want to do that, then you have to go to View tab and go for Freeze Pane. But first you have to select what you want to freeze. You can click here in A2. It means that anything above this, above A2, will be freezed once you click here and freeze pane. You can also do by simply freeze top row or freeze first column. But if you just do freeze panes, then it will be doing according to your current selection. In this case, it will freeze the top row. If now I scroll down, you can see first row is frozen, and you can see it even if you are at the bottom of the table. Now let's go to the top and show you another thing. If you want to unfreeze the pane, then you simply unfreeze. Now you see this is moving. Let's say I also want to view country column, A column. Then I will click here. Now it is B2. So anything above or left of this selection will be frozen. For example, if I freeze pane now, if I go down, this is frozen. And now if I go to the right, then this first column is also frozen. Now I'm unfreezing and just freezing the top row because that's what we want. Now let's do some calculations, simple formulas. We did multiplication of quantity sold versus sales price. Now we want to do a total cost. Cost will be equal sign. You can select from mouse or just use the arrows keys from keyboard like this. Purchase price multiplied by, which is a asterisk sign, total sales. Press enter. You got it. We did it wrong way. We'll multiply purchase price by quantity sold. So if you do a formula wrong, then how to update that? You can simply overtype and type a new formula, or you can press F2, double click or click here, which I showed you in previous video, Shortkeys, and you can move your mouse to here because this is the wrong selection. You can click here, and while holding your mouse you can move this to here and press enter. Now this is quantity sold multiplied by purchase price. This is the total cost. We can copy this down, or we can add more and then copy all of this at the end. So profit per product would be sales price less purchase price. This is per product, and total profit will be total sales less total costs. Commission. Let's say we have a commission of 10% for the person who is selling the products, and if he sells 10 or more units, then commission will be 20%. Now this is a tricky formula. For example, in this case we'll do a profit multiplied by total profit multiplied by 10%. In this case, since we have 47 products here, 10 or more products, so commission will be 20%. But if we copy this formula down, in this case these are 5 products, so this formula should show a 10% commission here instead of 20%. So instead of doing this obviously manually, we'll just do another formula, which is equal if. This if statement is a logical test. If that test is passed, then you'll say what to do, and if that is failed, then you'll tell what to do in both cases. So our logical test here is this quantity sold should be greater than and or equal to 10, or simply this is less than 10. If this quantity is less than 10, then we want total profit multiplied by 10%. You can either type 10% or 0.1. If false mean if product or quantity sold is not less than 10, then obviously it would be 10 or more. In that case, we want this multiplied by 20%. In this way, our formula will automatically include both statements of more than 9 or less than 10. Now our gross profit would be this total profit minus commission. Let's just copy these formulas down. Again, there are many ways you can copy paste, you can drag, you can double click here, whichever is easier for you, you can do that. We're just saving time. If we randomly check, then this is this is this. Every formula is just copying through all the rows and being updated. And this commission here in this case is 10% instead of 20, because this product is less than 10. We can manually check. For example, this profit here, total profit multiplied by 10% is 75. Now let's do another formula. I'm just trying to give you example of few formulas. We can always search for many formulas on Google or ask ChatGPT maybe. All you need to do is to remember that there is something you can do for a certain task. For example, I want a year in this row. Obviously, we'll be using this date column for that. I want this 2019 here and 2018 here and so on. This is the statement you have, and you can simply ask Google maybe to tell you what is easiest formula to do this. There are many ways, many long ways to do this, but there are certain formulas which are much easier than others. We cannot obviously remember each and every formula of Excel. All we have to do is to just know that you can do something like that, and then you can search and you can get the results. In this case, we can simply, there is a formula called year. If we select this date, press enter, this is 2019. If we go down, double click, copy paste, then this is 23. You can see this date here says 23. This says 21, this is 21. And for example, you need a month, number of month, then you can say month, select this date here and press enter. This will tell you this is 4th month, this is 5th, this is 4th, and so on. Now we need a combination of year dash month. Then this will be years, and you can simply use and sign, which is shift 7, to concatenate two boxes or whatever boxes you want, but this won't tell you the correct picture because you need a dash in between. Then we can simply use commas and dash and this and then and. Whatever you type in between these commas, double quotes, will be considered as text. We can say maybe A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 or whatever. This will be considered text. For example, if we do an enter here, then it will show us year dash month. I'll just tell you another formula. There is another formula called concatenate, and it won't need any and in between the formulas. For example, if I select this, then comma, then these inverted commas, dash, then comma, then this. Both will do the same trick, but I feel this formula much easier. So we'll just drag this formula down, and this is what we got so far. This is the main data we got from somewhere, and then we calculated some formulas and calculations and commission and profit on it. Now I'm going to tell you something about filtering and sorting. Let's say this date here is not in an order. What if you need this date in an order? If you want to search something directly based on certain repeating criteria. For example, you only want to see what's in USA or what's in Blender or what's in kitchen. Then you'll use the filtering. You'll go here, select the headers of your table, go for home, filter, sort and filter, and you can click this filter, or you can go to data tab and click this filter. Both will do the same, or you can also do this from your keyboard using a shortcut control. While holding control, you will press shift, and while holding both of these keys, you will press L for long. Then it will filter the data visible. You might think why there are two more blank columns are filtered, because if you remember, we typed something here like this multiplied by this person just to double check. Then we delete it. Although we deleted, but these boxes or maybe one box was used. That's why it is filtering that. We can get rid of this by simply selecting these two columns, control space, and we can do a delete column, delete here, or maybe delete from here, delete sheet columns, or simply press this delete button, or maybe control minus, control dash, or control dash, minus or dash. So you can do a control dash, and these two columns will be deleted. If you want to insert any column, you can simply press control plus sign from keyboard. So now we got this data filtered. What is the point of filtering? Again, we can sort and we can find different things in here. For example, here, if I open this filter in country, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries in there. Although if you try to find that using you scrolling through the data, it will be very hard. You will see, oh yeah, this is USA, this is Canada, and maybe these are not just sorted. For example, in this case, there is 2019, then 18, then 21. I think there is no 20, or maybe there is. We can simply click here and it will tell us that this date range is from 2018 to 2023. If you further want to go down to any of these years, you can see this 2023 is till August, and you can even break this down into this, and you can also filter any of these criterias. For example, I just uncheck this and go for March 23, then I would be able to see all the March days in there, whatever days are. We can also sort these things, like for example, in this case, if I sort from oldest to newest, then now you can see this is 18th 2018 sorted by their days and months, and then February and so on. You can also sort this data by any text. For example, if we want this from A to Z, then B is Blender on the top, then we scroll down, then it is H home theater, and so on. As long as you have the correct filter applied on all the columns, this filter will automatically move all other rows. You have to double check this, because if, let's say, this filter was till here and these columns were not filtered, then your formulas will not be correct, because if I click on this formula and double check, then this is still same row. Otherwise these would have moved to like this maybe. So while filtering, you have to consider these things. And there is another most important thing I want to show you is, let's undo the date sorting and filter maybe February or March 23, let's say. Now this March 23 is scattered around the rows. This is row 10, then 234, then 278. What if I want to delete this month? I can simply select like this, or maybe go like this and then do a shift space. Now our data is selected. If I delete these rows by doing this, or maybe control minus or Shortkey, then let me tell you very important thing here, a tip or trick, that it will delete all the data from row 10 to row 585, because what you selected is from 10 to 585, but in real you want to delete row 10, 234, 278. I'm just holding control and then clicking 288, 413, this, and this. Well, now you can simply delete these rows. If you delete row, then it will only delete the rows which were selected. This is what we wanted, and obviously this is the simpler way to delete these. But let's say this is a huge data and you cannot simply do this one by one. So what would you do? I mean, you will just start from here and go till end. Let's say there are thousands of rows, and then you select this, that you don't want to delete the rows hidden in between these rows because of filter. Filter is just filtering the rows for you. It's just for viewing purpose, not for, I mean, the previous data is still there. You can still see that there are 619 rows and there are rows hidden in between. If you clear this filter, then you can see the data which wasn't filtered. There is an easier way to do this, and that is select this, you know how to do that, and go for Alt from your keyboard. While holding Alt, press semicolon. Now you can see it selected the visible cells. This is a shortcut to select the visible cells. Now we can simply delete these rows, and this will only delete the selected data, but we don't want to delete. This was just an example to show you. Whenever you delete this, be careful, because while filtering and deleting might make a mess. Now, using this example, we are going to create a summary based on this data here. First of all, let's rename this sheet to data, because this is the data. We can right click here and do a rename, simple. Or we can go here, format, and go for a rename sheet. And this is, well, Alt HOR. Alt HOR is for renaming the sheet. Then we'll call this data. Let's insert another sheet, Alt HIS. Now I will be going to use these shortkeys again and again, and I hope do you remember every time. Alt HOR, rename. This is summary 1. Now we are trying to create a gross profit report out of that data. You want to make this bold because this is header. Use a Control B, Control U, do like this. Let's do some summary of each category. We want a gross profit report. I'm just trying to outline things in my mind. Let's go to data. We want a summary of gross profit. Gross profit is this. Well, if you know accounting or a simple calculation of how to calculate the profit, just like we did here in this data tab, then we'll need sales, cost of sales, profit, commission, sorry, this profit, not this one. And these are all things we need, and we want these calculations based on category. And to do that, let's see how we can find what number of categories are there. In this case, we can either do this by clicking here, and you can see there are 3 categories. And we can maybe type these, but during typing we must remember that we should be typing the correct spelling. Or maybe you have a huge number of categories. What would you do if you want to summarize these categories one by one? Let me show you how to do that. We'll go here, go down, Control Shift down, select till the end, copy this data, go to previous tab or sheet. Let me tell you what is the shortcut of moving between sheets. This is Control. While holding Control, you'll do a page up or page down. If I click page up, then I move to previous worksheet, and if I click page down, then it moves to next worksheet. So I'll go to previous worksheet like this, Control page up. I'll just go here anywhere in the blank, right click, paste as values. This is another shortcut. If you want to right click on a certain selection, there is a right click button on your keyboard, but it is mostly on full size keyboards, not the smaller ones on laptops maybe. Or if you don't have that, then you can click Shift F10. While holding Shift, you press F10, and this will open this option menus. Now we want to do a paste as values. Paste as values is simply V, because you can see there is a small underline here in cut. It means if you want to cut, then you can simply click on T, then it will cut. You click on C, then it will copy. And this way you can see all of these texts have a underlying letter, and that is the letter. If you press from your keyboard, then it will simply do that. Or you can also do this by up, down, or right, left. Now what about these? I want to paste as values like this. you can see in bracket it says V. So if I'm, let's say here, I'll just simply press V and it will paste as values. You can also see that there are other ways to do that. P for paste, V for values, F for formulas, T for transpose, and so on. Now I'll select all of this, Control Shift down. While selecting all of this, I'll do for remove duplicates. This is a built-in Excel function. You can simply remove duplicates and it will just show you one item one time, because these are all repeating items. To do that, you have to go to Data tab, and for Data tab we'll do Alt A M, because M is for remove duplicates. You can see here, remove duplicates, Alt AM. Now I'll just do OK and it removed duplicates. Let's go to the top. Now these three are the unique items. Now if you had a huge list, then you can simply do by copy paste and remove duplicates, and it will show you the unique items you needed. This is what we got. Let's do this, start it from any row or column, because at the end we can add more rows and columns and delete if we don't want. So maybe we can just keep it there and write sales. We want sales by kitchen, living room, and washer. Now we'll have total sales, sum of these three. Then we need costs, and in costs we need these costs as these three items, then total costs. Then we will get profit before commission, and again we'll have this calculation as these three categories. Then we'll have total profit before commission. Then let's say we need commission, then this, then total commission. Then we'll have gross profit and total gross profit. Let me show you a quick thing here, not related to this, but a formula just came in my mind. If you use a formula called proper, for example, I didn't do a capital letter before each word in here and in here, others are fine, and instead of doing a edit, I'm just trying to use this proper function here. I selected this, and you see a proper function just make your words proper. First letter is capital and other small. Then I'll copy and paste. You see, when I copy paste, the formula selection of cell moves relatively, so it moved 3 rows down. Now we got this. I'll copy this and paste as values. You see, this is value, and in here this is formula. Now I'll paste this as values here, and I'll get rid of this. Now we got these things. We also need a monthly and yearly breakdown. For monthly and yearly breakdown, we need the number of months here and years, obviously, but problem is we don't know the date range. So let's double check what is the date range. We don't need to remove duplicates here like we did for category, because date is a range. We simply need months. So we can see this data is starting from January 18 to August 2023. So what we can simply do is type January-18. If you remember formatting, number formatting training, then in formula box you can see when I typed January 18, it automatically gave it 1st of January 2018, and this is the actual date behind this visibility. This is just a visibility. If I go for control 1 or click here for the numbers formatting, then this is basically the formatting that says MMM-YY. MMM is for the letters of month, and YY is 2 digits for year. If we type Y for 4 times, then it will say 2018, 2018. We'll just drag this down. This is another type of dragging, let me tell you. This dragging is not a copy paste because this is not a formula. But when Excel knows something to propagate forward, then it will do it automatically. For example, I'm trying to grab this and you can see this is moving like February 18, March, April, May, and so on till December, and after that this is January 19. So I'll just grab this till, let's say this is 23, so we'll do this for till August 23, or maybe let's do this till December 23. We need a freeze pane here, but we not only need freeze pane for this row but also these columns. So whenever we are on right or bottom, we can see all of this. So I'll just do a freeze here. Now if we go right, then we can still see these headers on the left side, and if we go down, then we can still see what's on the top. We need some value here that is related to sales and kitchen and January 18. So whenever you need something in Excel, always remember to create a scenario in a logical manner in your mind so that you calculate or come up with a formula. For example, in previous training, we did if formula. In this case, we'll need SUMIF formula, but not SUMIF, because let's see, let me tell you another thing here, a short key, SUMIF. Now the correct formula I need is SUMIF, just for now, and I want to select this. There is a way you type SUMIF and then start bracket and then type formula and then close bracket. Other way would be SUM. You can either go down or up or type more till you get the desired formula and press tab key from keyboard. Once you press tab, it will select the formula. You can see this is asking you for range, criteria, and sum range. Only three things, and technically this is one criteria, and then what do you want to sum. We want more than one criteria in this case. Then we need SUMIFs, because a SUMIFs is a formula that is based on sum range for many number of criteria, whatever you want. Now let me show you another thing here before doing this formula. We got the sum range. We need sales. In data tab, we have this total sales column. This is what we need, and we want only kitchen. Then kitchen is in category D. So column I is the sum, column D is the criteria, and then also we want only January 18. And column B is date, which is January 18. Now there is something you should know. Criteria is a single word, which is kitchen. We can do that. Let's break this formula slightly. Do this one by one. So first step was, this was sales and this was category. So we'll simply use this SUMIFs formula without date for now. I'll do a SUMIFs. I'll go for sum range, which is this, then comma, then it is asking for criteria range. This is range, then comma, then I'll go back to summary tab and I'll click here. Kitchen is our criteria. Then we can add date criteria, but I'm just leaving this for now, and I'll just close this and press enter. Now this is actually a total of kitchen sales for all the periods irrespective of dates. Now I want to view this as, we'll press this comma, which is accounting, and then we can click here to increase or decrease decimals. So this is what I want. For date, you see this is a date which is actually 1/1/2018, but if you go to this data tab and go for this column now, I don't think there will be January 18 dates, will be 1, 2, 3 or many dates. We want a sum of all these dates, not just 1/1/18. Now this is where we can do something depending on what we want, depending on what our mind says, because there are a lot of ways to do that. For example, you can see this is year and month here, and then we concatenated these two things. If I open this, then now 2018-1 is a unique item for all of January 2018. Well, I think it's simple to use another criteria based on this column Q and have a 2018-1 in there. So let's say we use a I did this formula, comma, criteria range 2 is this, then comma, then go back to summary and select this. But this is 0. Why? Because this is a date and there was something else you did in there. And that was what? You tried to create a month and year out of date, which is this and this. Let's go back and let me show you here. There is another thing I want you to remember to simplify formulas. You see it says the data, which is tab, then exclamation, then it says D to D, which is basically all the column. Then it says C5 for summary 1 tab, which is the current tab. We can just get rid of this summary, because if a formula simply says box or cell, then it means that this is the active sheet or the sheet in which this formula is placed. Since we moved across these two tabs or sheets, that's why it called it summary. Let's go get rid of that to make this simple formula. It will still be same. Now this D3, we want let's add another row here. We basically need a year, and don't worry about this formatting. We can simply use this general and formatting will be okay. We need year and month. You see we did here in two different columns, like this and this and this. You can also include many formulas in just one box. Why would you need to calculate everything in separate boxes and then do another formula? So simply what we'll do here is, this is year, then we'll do an and, then these inverted commas, dash, and month, this, and bracket close. You see we simply got this. Now this criteria range should be this. You see, this is simple. Why having another row here? Let's just get rid of this. We can simply copy this and paste here instead of D4. You see, now we are bypassing the previous row. We can even get rid of this row. This is simple. This is how we did. I just want to show you another formula using the same pattern, but another possible way of using the date range. I mean, that is much complex than this formula, then why bothering using that? But just I want to show you how you can use one problem and you can have multiple solution, and you can choose whichever is easier for you. Let's say we don't have these three columns here and we only have date in here. Then we won't be able to use this column Q as a criteria range. So let me show you another way of doing this. There is a formula called end of month, EO month. You can also see this description here, which tells you what this formula can do. It says asking for start date. This is the start date. Let's type this month as 0 and bracket close. Now this is giving us something which is still January 18, but we don't know whether it is first or second or whatever month. You can also see that by simply copying this and paste anywhere, like here. This is general. Whenever you convert a date into general, it will look something like this. You can simply go for here short date, and it will tell you the way it should be presented. This is 31st of January 2018. So this date is correct. If you want to double check this date, then you can copy paste as value, and now you can see. Or you can simply make this look like a date. So this was first and this is 31st. You can only view the output here. So when we drag here, then this is something we cannot see. You can double click here, or you can do Alt HOI. Let's copy paste. Well, my way of doing a copy paste, whenever you want to move to the end of maybe a row or column, I use another row which is moving to the end. I do a control right, then I do a down, then I do a control shift right and press enter, and it will paste. We can do Alt HOI and we can see that our dates are there. Now we have a start date and end date. This is how we can use the date column from here to incorporate in here. And how we'll do that? Well, first of all, we'll just get rid of this formula. Or maybe let's just copy this formula down here. So it's still using the same. I'm just trying to show you how to do that. Now I'll just get rid of this. Now our criteria range 2 would be date, comma. Now we have two ranges. First one is this D3, which is start of month, and the second one is D4, which is the end of month. And what we need is any date that is greater than or equal to this and less than and equal to this. So these are two different criteria. And in here, let's get rid of this summary here to make the formula much simpler. And what we can do is use these inverted commas, greater than sign and equal sign, which means greater than and equal to. Why we are using this? Because this is a text. We cannot add something in between formulas, otherwise everything will mess up. So we want greater than and equal to, and connects the two things before and after it. So greater than and equal to this. Now I guess you'll be understanding what's going on. Let's just get rid of this here. You have this criteria, column criteria range, which is column B, which is date, and what you want is this, which is the criteria. And criteria is what you see. This is greater than and equal to 4311. Again, I said that the general format of date is 43 something. This is calculating the number of days from a start of certain period, and it shows like this. We don't have to understand this, but we can simply click on date format and it tells us that this is date format, what date it is. Now we did this range, but this is anything greater than or equal to 1st January 2018. We also want another criteria for the same range, but this time this will be less than and equal to this date, and press enter. You see, this is still 42,600. So whatever is easier for you, or whatever is available for you. For example, this data, you cannot create these 3 columns, and your boss is not happy with these 3 columns. He's saying, why do you need these in your data? I think this formula is much better than this, so let's just get rid of it. Now you know what we do with our formulas. We just drag things here and there. Oops, what happened? Now let me tell you another concept of formula. I mean, I did it on purpose. This formula is saying that you're trying to grab sum of I from data, D criteria, and this C6 here is the criteria. This is range, this is criteria, this is range, and so on. This one is here date. If we go here, then this blue one seems fine. Data columns also seems fine. But you see this date moved down. We wanted to use this one here on the top, because this is part of the previous formula. Now let's drag again, and you'll see that this one is moving down. Now what to do here? As I told you many times, whenever you copy paste formula, your selection moves relatively to the position of the formula you copied from. For example, I copied this formula from here to there, then every selection, even on data tab or this tab, will move relatively to this. If you go down, then everything will move down. Now you don't want to move down this red one. Let's just do another thing here and move this, copy this on the right side. Now you see this criteria, instead of kitchen, is selecting this one, and all these columns are also changed from data tab. Now let me tell you a concept of locking your selections or rows or columns. Some rows you don't want to move, some rows you want to move. In here we use a $sign to lock anything. Like, you don't have to type any $sign, don't worry about it. All you have to do is go here, select this and press F4, then it will automatically lock column I. Now if we copy down or right, this column I won't change. Let me show you. Press enter, copy this down, copy to right. You see it is still column I, this is still column I, but the other data had changed. This is E and this one was D. So now let's do this locking. You can also do this locking while typing the formula, but I just wanted you to show you the concept of locking. This column D is criteria range for category. Well, we don't want to move category because it is the same column for any of the month or any of the row. So we'll just lock this. And also, I'm just skipping, and also this column Q, everything will lock from data tab because these are the rows which are selected and we don't want to move these. But this C5 here, we want to lock this for column C. So I pressed F4, it is locking both. Then I'll press F4 again. Now it is locking row 5 because lock sign is with, or $sign is with 5. When I press F4 again, and then this lock sign is now with C column, and this means that C will be locked. If we move down, then 5 will change to 6, 7, 8 and so on. But if we move right or left, C will not be changing. That's what we want. And in here we want to lock 3, because if we go right or left, we want to move this red box to the right but not to the below or top, because the row 3 is what we want to fix here. Now press enter, copy paste like this and this. Now you see we got numbers in there because now things are being calculated correctly. And here you see this is date, this is month. So whenever we are moving to a certain column or row, we want these dates or columns selected accordingly. Instead of copying to the right, let's just go down and fill this first column at least. Now we want costs. I'll just copy this and paste here. What would we change here? What do you think? Well, we want costs, and this sum is based on column I. Column I is total sales. Now we need total costs, which is column J, and everything will be same. So instead of doing this formula again, we can simply use this J here and J here and press enter. This will be cost. If you want to double check, let's say you or I might be wrong. What if we want to double check that kitchen is 24,000, or let's just check these 6 numbers manually just to make sure that this formula we used is correctly used. Maybe we mistyped anything. Well, there is a probability always. So whenever you do some formula, always try to double check it, at least for first, then you can copy paste if it is a huge formula. So in here, this is January 18 and sales total for kitchen. Let's go to data. Let's go for January 18. That's how you can use your filter effectively. You go for kitchen, and the total sales are, once you select any of these, you can always see this here. This shows you sum of selection, this is count of selection, and this is average of selection. So we need sum, which is 42,600, and here it is 42,600. Let's go for this living room here for the same selection obviously, There is no living room, that's why it's 0. Let's go for washer, and washer is what? 160,000, and in here we got 160,000. For washer cost 126,000. For washer cost is 126,000. Now we double check, we are happy. Let's go next. Profit before commission is something which is kitchen minus kitchen means sales minus cost, and that's it. Why using complex formula if it is a simple one? Copy paste till down. Now you see if we copy paste, this is moving downward. If we go, let's say, to the right, then it will move right. So we won't lock anything in here. Now we need commission, and I'll just copy paste here again and see where is commission. Commission is in column M. We'll just update this to M, and there we go. I'm just trying to show you everything in very deep detail, and once you know what is it, I'll try to do things in, you know, speedy way so that this training is not very long. So this is, now we know we did this, and gross profit will be commission, profit before commission minus commission. Then this is it. Let's just do this column bold so we know the headers and everything. In here we need total sales, which is a sum. Let me show you another thing. We can do this plus this plus this, or we can do equal sum this and select while holding shift. I'm just moving to the up arrow, or you can also select from mouse like this. Either way, it's the same thing. Or there is another beautiful hotkey for this. You hold Alt key and press equal button. It will always give you a sum formula with the closest selection possible. So this is it. I'll just do a bold here because this is a sum. Copy this, paste here. Why doing again? Because relatively it will move. So you have to know how formulas are moved in relative to the other cells, and you can simply save time. So let's just get rid of these. Select all of this, copy paste or drag till the end. There we go. You got every month in there. Let's do some cleaning, I think, because this is what we wanted. Let's do a bold here, maybe center here, and let's do another row here like this. I'll just freeze pane again, and I'll just do a $sign. This is just finishing presenting things, so you can do whatever you want. Obviously, I'll just go here. We can color these things, or we have already these beautiful headers created by Excel. Then why don't we use this and bold? Yeah, that looks good. And then there is another thing one would need, and that is, well, first let's just move this here, and this blank column doesn't seem good. Let's do like this and this. This looks good. And now what to do? Yeah, we need a total of each year, because yeah, that is good to show your costs and sales based on every month. But what if someone wants to see also yearly? So we'll have a column here which will be, we can say this is 2018 maybe. This is picking up the date format, remember, so use a general. But if I copy this to next column, end of 19, then I'll have to type 2019. Remember, always try to use things, formalize things, so that you don't have to type everything again and again. Why typing? For example, this dollar won't need changing, but let's say I will use a year and this. Once I copy this formula to the right of December 19, then relatively this will move to December 19, and it will say 2019 automatically. So I'll use a sum here like this, again telling you equal sum tab left, control shift left, but it is including kitchen, so I'll do a right, so shift right. That's it. Even if this is a simpler formula, you don't need to close brackets. You simply press enter. If it is a complex formula, then you should close brackets because you might have more than one brackets. Copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and it will be a simple copy paste. There we go. Now I'll do a bold, 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 bold. I'll copy this, go to the right, next to December 19. Okay, I think I already told you, but just telling again. I select this column. You can click here and copy, or you can simply control space, control C. You go here next to December 19, do a insert copied cells, or you click here, do a control space, means select column, and do a control plus. Simple. And again, a relative position of formula made it a sum of 12 columns to the left because there is a gap of 12 columns. And this is also selecting, so you don't need anything. You simply copy paste after every December, control space plus, control C. That was 20, so control plus, control C. We go to the end of 22, control space, control plus, control C. Then we go to the end, control space, control plus. That's it, and that's what we did here. I guess let's undo this and beautify first, because when we'll be going to copy these years, then formatting will be copied easily. Otherwise we'll have to do this formatting again and again. Remember, as I told you, do things once, not again and again. So what I wanted here, or what I wanted to show you here is, let's highlight this and do a simple color, maybe this one, and this one. Since these are profits, so I'll color these differently, like maybe this. You can do this more, I mean, beautify things more, but I'm just trying to give you a flavor of this. Another thing I wanted to show you is you can border your boxes like this. For example, if you want a border here, you can do this, and this is a border down. Well, what if you want a border on top, right, left, all, no, outside, thick? I think this is simply explainable. You can even color those lines. You can make these lines bolder or thinner. So what I'll do here is, let's use a short key, Alt H B. I only want border at the bottom of this. So let me give you another great tip here. What we did previously was to border the row here. You remember? Excel also remembers this. So let's select this, and instead of going here and do a border, simply press F4. You see this row here? Whatever you do in Excel, like copy, paste, borders, or whatever, whenever you press F4, it will repeat the previous step. So that is something which I cannot tell you how good it is to save time. I mean, I go there, press F4, I go there, press F4, because I'm just clicking on the borders, F4, and that's it. Another thing here is, I'm bordering this like this because this is the end of it. Let's say I'm using this accent here just to show that this is year to date. Make this bold, and maybe we can also do more borders and tell which border it is. We want none, then we want a left and right one, not double, just single. Okay, this was double row was selected, so single row, left, right. Okay. So we'll also need here like this. Now I'm pressing F4, 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 F4. Yeah, this one. F4, F4, F4. We don't need border here. And we need a right and left. It looks good. We also need this here. I think it's okay. So let's copy this. Go there. Paste. Insert copied cell, not paste, sorry. Or Control plus, which I'm doing. Then copy again. Go to the end of 20. Control plus. Copy. Go to the end of, it was 20, so 21. Copy. That's why I deleted the previous copied columns, because I wanted to format everything in one go. That's why I am also doing things again and again, just to show you that although you can do things in some ways, but there is always a way to do things much faster. I mean, now we don't have to do this here, the formatting, the coloring and everything. This was just a copy paste. This is what we did. For the look of it, I usually do this. We just go to View tab and get rid of these grid lines, and it seems much beautiful. For example, your boss wants a summary and also the breakdown. So we'll have to copy this tab to again and maybe create this again, and then only use these cells excluding I mean, we don't need these 3 rows. We need a summary of this. Instead of doing this again, we can simply use a function in there, which is go to data, go for group here. You can select any columns or rows. We want to group these 3 because, just like I said, we don't need these 3. So we'll group these. Click here. We'll go for these and group. You can also do a, as it says, Shift Alt right. So Shift Alt right. And if you do a Shift Alt left, then it will remove the grouping. You can do this group multiple times. So select these, Shift Alt right, Shift space, Shift down, down, Shift Alt right, and this. Also, obviously, this is 2018. You won't be interested in every month of 2018. Maybe sometime you will be interested. So also group these. All you have to do is to again select these and go for this group, or Shift Alt right. Same for 18, same for 19, and then same for 20. I'm just leaving the total so one can see the total easily. And 22. In 23, well, this is current year, so someone would be happy to see the comparison of previous month, but obviously he won't be happy to see these. So let's also group these. Maybe your boss also wants to see August 23 with the prior year, which is this. Yeah, so let's just ungroup this. You click here or go for ungroup or Shift Alt left, because Shift Alt right was to group and Shift Alt left was to ungroup. And maybe or maybe not this one. So let's just do this. Now once all this grouping is done, go to the top and click on this one here, and you see all the grouping is closed now. Now it's just presenting a beautiful view. You can see the months, whatever you want. You can every month you can click here, you can open, close, and you can maybe add numbers in there and just ungroup this. This is how you can present your huge data into a simplified format, and also not losing anything else, or maybe creating later, doing a long work. And same for here. Once I press this, we can simply see these sales and everything. What if you're looking this total sales and sales twice? It doesn't seem good. So select this and add. Just group. Once you click group next to another group, then it will automatically add. So this one here, and adding all of these into groups. Now the group was this, now the group is increased to this. So once we close this, now it seems good. we see total sales, costs, profit before commission, commission, and gross profit. Let's just get rid of this blank row here, because I said that we'll just see later what we need and what we don't, and we're just trying to create, you know, a good view of what we did. Last but not least is my personal preference, which is that there is a probability that this profit might not be correct, because maybe you just did this formula and that wasn't correct. Maybe you missed something. Maybe you missed the living room here. So what do you think to maybe have a check total, because you will be going to provide this file to someone else and there is a probability someone messes this up trying to add another month, maybe another data in there. That's why I always try to have a check total. I mean, this is what I created this terminology, that I'll use the check total to see if this report is okay. Well, you can use many check total, whatever you want, but at least let me show you a simple check total here. This is the profit here. Let's do this in a simple way. We go to the first month, copy this here. This was a formula. Now this is trying to get this blank here. We don't want any criteria, so B29 is criteria, which is criteria range of D. We'll just get rid of this. So we want a sum based on M, then month, start and end. These are fine. Let's press enter. Now this 964 is this commission, because this we just got rid of these two criteria, so it is giving us a sum. What we want here is in data tab. Let's just clear this filter. If you want to clear a filter, you can simply click here and clear filter. If you want to clear all the filters, you have to go here and clear the filter, or you can go to data and clear this filter here, or you can simply press H or Alt HSC. So this was gross profit. We calculated here in another way, on our own way or whatever way, and we want to double check with this. I think this would be a double check, a good double check. So this column here is column N. So for the same criteria, we want sum of column N and press enter. This is 38,560 for this month, and you can see this is 38,560. So what I'll do is at the end I'll do a minus this. So this 0 means that we are trying to get the profit from the data tab from a certain way, not this way, and double check that this profit is same whatever we calculated. If there are any mistakes in calculations, if we missed something, maybe there was another category here apart from living room, then in either of these, with either of these problems or missings, we'll have a number here apart from 0. So we'll call this checks or check total or whatever you call it. Let's do this like italic and move it to the right, maybe font size or whatever you want to. I mean, this is just a double check. We'll just copy this and paste till these 12 months. This total, we don't have this total, and we can just, let's leave this for now because this is sum either way. So copy paste here, paste here, double checking. You see this is December 19 and it's matching with this, so no worries. Paste, 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 paste. Now, how would you know if any one of this formula is not showing a 0? Maybe we forgot this number here. Then you see this is a check total problem. Once I do undo, now this is 0. But if it is hidden, we won't be able to find this. So what I do here is I go here on the top, I do an equal sum, I go for here right, then I press Control Shift right, and I'm just holding right button and it is moving till the end of the sheets, whatever it is, because if more rows or columns are added, then we'll simply include. So I'll press enter, and now this one here is it is not showing because let's move this here to see. You see this is 0 now. So this 0 is a check total for all of these columns and rows. Let's even do this grouping, another grouping, so this check total is not visible in print. And now we have this report almost ready. We can do this as a breakdown or whatever months we want to show or not. It's simple. You can even manually hide any row or column like this. Hide. You see this is BP and then BR. After P it is Q, not R. So it means there is a hidden column in between, because this is a single line and these are two lines. To unhide, we select these two and go for unhide. So let's just color this something different, and let's insert a worksheet which is called summary 2. I will be going to give you a flavor of subtotals in here. This summary 2 is sales by country and sales person. Like Word or other applications or software, Excel don't show you the spelling mistake. So in that case, you can simply press F7 from your keyboard and it will pop up a spelling checker. And if there are any spelling mistakes, then it will show you. For example, this word is not in dictionary and this is suggested that is this sales or whatever it is. So it is sale. I'll just do a change and person, yes, and there we go. So just in case you're doing some typing and just like, you know, we did this thing here and there is possibility of a mistake, then you simply press F7, press yes, and it says you're good to go because there is no spelling mistake in this tab. So we'll do a bold underline and we'll just go for this here. What we need is sales by country and salesperson. I'm trying to create a picture in my mind that we need a sales by person and country. Yeah, that's it. So let's copy these three columns, paste as values here. We don't need these. Select all of these, do a remove duplicates, Alt AM, remove duplicates, press OK. We don't need numbers here. We only need these two columns. So remove duplicates and there we go. So these are all people in each country. If I only use remove duplicate here, there is a person in USA and in Canada, then it will also make a single entry for that person. But we want a single person per country. So if you have more than one columns, then you simply select both and do a remove duplicate and select both here like this. If you don't want country, then you can uncheck that. So this is done. What we need here is, let's do a filter. Control Shift L, open this. You can click here, or you can, while being here, your selection, press Alt down and you can do whatever you want. So we wanted to sort this A to Z, but this is the last sorting. First we want to sort this. You can also do this like this, sort, then sort. Now everything is sorted in this way, and then in each way the next column is also sorted in A to Z. That's why I did a sorting here and then here. I'm just moving here. If you remember why we are trying to do this, because we wanted to have every piece of person or the letters or the words in these two columns, because we wanted a summary of sales by country and person, just like we did in summary 1 in previous training. So I'll just have a blank column here. This is country, this is sales person, this is sales. I'll do a bold. I'll go for some coloring, maybe like this, bold, this. Okay, we are trying to do a SUMIF. I always try to use SUMIFs because it doesn't matter. If it is SUMIF, then SUMIFs can also be used in the same way. So SUMIFs, sum range is total sales, and we want to lock this. So I'll press F4 here remember from previous training, and then comma, then it is criteria range 1, which is salesperson lock, then comma, then go back. Criteria range 1 is this. I want to lock column B, although it doesn't matter in here because we won't be moving it to right or left, but still it is a good habit to lock the cells or rows or column, comma, then country lock, comma, and Brazil. This one is country lock A. This is, there we go. And now I'll drag this down, and you can see that we have a summary of people by country. Now you want a total like this. I mean, not like this, but at least some of each category and everything. What if you want a total of each of the country? And this is a small example. This is a very small data. You can insert a row here, do a sum of these and all that. But let's say it is a huge data and you want a sum. You can simply select all of this, go to data, subtotal. You want add change in country. You want sum for each change, and you want sum of sales column, and press OK. Now you see this created a grouping of the categories. Let's just select all of this, do a filter, freeze first row, go here. This row here, I want to make this a bit visible. Every row has a total word in there. So I'll search for total in text filter, press OK, enter. Now I have all total selected. I'll go this, but there are hidden rows in there in between the filtered items. So I'll go for alt semicolon, which selects the apparent or visible cells only. I'll do a color and a bold, and yeah, I'll clear the filter. Now it looks good. Whenever I press 2, it is closing the persons into company, so it is showing me total only. You remember we did this in previous video where we can simply close and open. We did that manually, but this one is automatically created by the subtotal button, and we can also click 1 and it will only show us the total overall. So if you want to make this hide these grid lines or not, depends on you. So this was, we did summary 2, in which we tried to do the subtotal, which automatically subtotals by each category. You can do this by more than one category, and you have to apply the subtotal twice, 2 times or 3 times maybe, and it also groups your rows based on those categories. Now we're going to create another summary, which is sales by salesperson. So let's quickly insert a tab here, Alt HIS, then rename Alt HOR summary 3. This will be sales by salesperson. Again, it's the same thing we did for previous 2 summaries. We'll just copy the salesperson here and we'll do a remove duplicate. Now we only have one person at a time. This is salesperson and sales. Let's give it a good look. Alt HOI for auto width of column. Now we're going to create a formula to know what is the sales for each person. We'll be using SUMIFS. We'll go to data tab. Our sum range will be total sales. I'll lock this. Then we want to know the salesperson. We'll lock this again, and then we'll go back here and we'll lock A. Press enter, copy paste. Let's sort this by person name. Sometime it happens while I sorted, this bit moved, but the formula is still at the row 17. So I'll just move this here and we'll copy paste. While you do sorting, you double check the formula, or we have a Solution to this we'll discuss later in tables and name manager training. Now we got the total by each person, and these are the sales done by each person. Let's say we want to give it a good look and also showing who did best and who did worse. We can do this by conditional formatting, and there are many conditional formatting. We can use bars and it will look like this, and color scales will be looking like this. Now our huge numbers will be green and the lowest numbers will be red. If we use this, then this is the other way around, and this is how we can use conditional formatting. All you have to do is to select a range and then go for conditional formatting, highlight things, and that's it. So we'll use this because green is a good, for example, this, and gradually it is going down to, let's say, this number here, which is red. Let's say we want to know if this person is making enough sales and is it good to keep the person or leave the person. In that case, let's say we type something here like this. We'll just format painter, and let's say the limit for firing will be maybe like 50,000. If anyone doing less than 50,000 sales is not a good person, then we'll be using if formula. Our logical test is if this is less than 50,000. Now 50,000 is a number and not a text. Therefore, we don't need to enter this number in inverted commas. And then if value true, then we want true. Well, true is again a boolean used by Excel. Well, then we have to type true and false because these are built-in Excel functions. Therefore, we don't have to type these as text as inverted commas. So this is false. I'll double click here, and true means this person's sales are less than 50%. Let's do another conditional formatting for text that contains. You can also do this less than, greater than, equal to, between, and so on. But let's do this as text containing true, and you can color whatever you like. Red is fine for us. So these two people are doing very small sales and it's true. This conditional formatting will automatically color red for true, otherwise it won't color for false. It's always good to update your filter whenever you insert new columns. So this was conditional formatting, and now we want to create a little form, or you can say maybe you don't want to see all this data and you want to enter some name and want to see its sales and whether it is a hiring or firing person. So we'll be doing this sales by sales person selection box. Do this normal, bold, underline, select sales person, sales by person. In here we want to insert a person here. For example, I'll copy this person here and paste here, and if we want to look up this person in this list to get sales from this column in here, then what we can do? Well, there are many ways to do the lookup. This is like if someone types in a person name, then he'll get the data required. Let's do this like this. We'll just get rid of grid lines. This is input, so we'll color this something like input center, and this will be calculation in dollars, and all of this will be center. Well, technically it should be this copied here. I want to color this black, and 5%, well, this is false, so it's a no. You need this number here automatically, and to do this we can use many ways. First and most common way to do this is VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP equal VLOOKUP. Lookup value is this. We want to look this value table array is this, or you can increase this just in case you add more values. And column index number, this is column 1, column A, this is column 2, column B. We want to get the output from column 2, so we'll type 2, and for exact lookup we'll use 0 and enter. Now this is looking the correct number. Let's say we change this to this, then the number is 283,400. Now what if you don't want to use VLOOKUP, because VLOOKUP involve the number 2 or second column here. Let's say we insert another column here for something, whatever it is, a new data, and this will become column 3, but it will be grabbing numbers from column 2. For this reason, we can use another more advanced formula, which is XLOOKUP. Lookup value again is same. Lookup array is this. We are looking this name in this column, and return array is this. We want to get the respective value from this column. Bracket close, enter. Now let's say we want to change this number to double check, and this is 565,900. But this XLOOKUP has a problem. This is only available in the Office 365 online version of Microsoft. What if you are not using this version? Then there is another formula which is a bit complex, but it is ultimate solution to this problem. Because for example, if you want to share this file with someone and that person is opening this file is maybe in Office 2016, then this box here will give error because that Excel is not being able to use XLOOKUP. For in that case, we'll use index match. Index array is the output you want, which is this, then comma. There is another formula which is match. Lookup value is this, lookup array is this, then match type is 0, exact match, bracket close, and then bracket close for index. Again, a lookup is a column which is in match, and G5 is the box you want to look up, and in index we'll type the output we want and press enter. It's still the same, and let's say we want copy here and double check, and this is fine. Now we can use the same formula, paste here, paste as formula, or we can copy this and paste as text. Now this is looking in the same direction. Now we want output as this. Now fire person is false, which means no. Let's say we want to type no instead of false, so we'll add another formula. If the answer is true, then we want a yes, otherwise no. Now it is saying fire person no. Let's say we check for this person, then it is yes. This was the lookup formula. Now let's go to this box here, and let's say a person wants to check for this person here, and that is Jace Wolf. Enter. It is giving me error because I mistyped the spellings are wrong. To overcome this problem, we'll use data validation here. Data validation is what? We go for data, and data validation list and source will be this. Okay, now you can select name from a list, and if you try to name this in wrong spelling, then it will give you an error. So we can retry and say the correct spelling and press enter. So it will be like this. This is data validation, which is used to specify a certain list, a certain format for any box. For example, if you want to use date, time, or text length or anything, then if someone tries to enter something else, then it will give an error. This is how we make our file foolproof, so there is no chance of error. I'm going to give you another complex formula which I discussed while doing summary 1. We were doing the summary 1 using SUMIFS formula. What if we have our data like this? Instead of everything in column, our date or our month is on the top, and we want to create a summary out of it. I just created a copy of data and just moved this a bit, because sometimes we do get data which has many criterias here, but also here. In this case, we want to create the summary. I copied this tab, and that's why it's giving me error, because the data is now replaced. So let's just use this formula again and see what we can get. I just copied this tab here, and these were blanks. I copied this here. These were also blanks. I copied this here, and so on. And we don't want this bold here. This is just for formula we want to use. Now let's say we want to use this data tab to create the output. Now this is no more in just tabular form. This is in a tabular form, but also we have columns here. We can use SUMIFS, which you already know, with a combination of index match, which you already know. So our sum range will be index. Our array would be this, all the columns of the months. I'll select all columns, I'll lock, then row number will be nothing, so we'll just do another comma here, because rows will be the criteria for SUMIFS, which we'll use later. Matching will be this month, I'll lock row 2. Lookup array will be this, just these months, I'll lock here. Then 0 for exact match, bracket close, bracket close. Now this is our sum range, which is now divided into index match formula. Then we'll go for criteria. Our first criteria will be this, total sales. I'll lock this. The criteria is total sales. I'll lock A. Then we have criteria here, criteria range, lock, comma, and criteria with the lock of B and bracket close. Here let's say I copy paste this here, then we lost the underline or the border here, you can see. So I'll just copy paste as formula this one here. In this way it will just copy the formula and won't copy the border, because there is no border here. When we copy down here, this border is gone. I'll just copy paste across here. Since we are using index match, this is giving us error for the months which are not there, like this. We can use if error formula. If error formula defines if there is an error, then it will give you a certain output. Let's say it's 0, and that's it. Let's copy paste. Now it is giving us 0 for the boxes where we have an error. Let's copy this down here. Now this is grabbing the data from total costs. Copy paste as this formula. And to do the appearance, I'll just change the color, like maybe this. And in the same way we can do the check total. This was just to give you an overview of what if we have rows and columns both in our data against which we want a sum and a look. Let's say this was the data we were working on, and this was an example. This data you are getting maybe in the form of months, because whenever a month closes, you will get the data related to that month. What you will be doing is get the data, copy here, and once it is copied, then copy the formulas and do this every month. Add more data here, then copy these formulas, and so on. But what if there is a huge data and you want to grab that data in here automatically? I'm going to show you how in data tab you can get data from a source. Now in this example we have Excel files which you are getting in the form of different files like this. You'll get 2018, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on every month, and this is what you got. And you want to import this data into one tab without doing any manual bits. Go for data tab, get data from file, from folder. We'll select data and open, because in data folder we have all these files. It is showing you. We'll go for, you can combine these files and directly load to your Excel, or you can transform data let's do a slight transformation here, just so you know how to do that. But we won't go in detail because this is another topic. So this is an example sheet. First file contains this data. As long as you're happy, you go OK. Now in this Power Query editor, you got all your files. This is 2018 1, this is 2018 10, this is 2018 11, and so on and so forth. It doesn't give you all data because you can add literally millions of files in here. So this is just an example data, and you want to do anything with these columns, or then you can simply do that, and the output, it will work on output and will give you the data. In here we want to format this date as dates, so transform this data type will be date, replace current, and we don't want this source name because it says .xlxx and we already know a date, so you can use this and you can just let go. So we'll just remove this column. I think that's it. And we'll just go in here, home, and load to. We'll load this to a table and to a new worksheet, and we'll press OK. Now it will read all those files, and if we change any file, maybe in a certain month, then this will import that change in here. All you have to do is to go to Data tab and press this refresh all button whenever you want to add something in there. For example, when you add a new month, then all you have to do is to go and refresh here and everything will change accordingly. This is how you get data from different files. I want to give you a concept of tables and name manager. In our very first video, I showed you that this is the name box, which tells us what is the name of the box. And this is a table in Excel, a simple table. But in Excel, you can convert this to table range. Now, why tables are helpful and why to use them? Well, there are a lot of benefits of using tables. This is just 618 rows. You might have millions of rows, thousands of rows. In that case, whenever you are using very long formulas, you'll have a problem that Excel will slow down. And why? Let me show you a thing here. In here, in summary 1, we are using this SUMIFS formula to grab data from this data tab here. In any of these, for example, the first bit here, you're using a data tab for column I. This is column I. You used column I for some range. Then you used column D to look up the kitchen in there. In column D, Excel will go from row 1 to the end of this sheet, which is like 1 million rows, to check if there is kitchen in there. How to limit Excel to only check till here? This is a problem. In irregular data, which you just copy paste or add more rows in here, and this is just non-table formatted data, then this slows down the Excel. Then there is another thing, and which is the data tab and column D. You don't know what is column D unless you go here and find that column D is category. To do this, you have to select your data, go to insert and table. It will tell you which range it is. You can always change this, like let's select from top to end. And we have headers, so we'll just tick this and OK. Now this range is converted into a table. What is the benefit of table? First of all, whenever you add anything in there, like let's say we're going to add another row like this and paste here, then you see this formula is updated automatically. There is a end of table, which is this. We can increase this and we'll have more rows, and whenever we add more rows, this formula is simply being copied. I'm just undoing these two steps. So this is the first and most obvious benefit of having a table. Another thing is we multiplied F2 by G2. So let's do this formula again. F2 multiplied by G2. I'm just clicking here, and instead of F2 and G2, it is saying quantity sold and sales price. You see, this is a very good way of presenting formulas, and it is easier in later to check what is what. For example, instead of saying F2, now it is saying quantity sold in this formula, because you defined your data range, you defined your column, and now all of this column is saying that this is quantity multiplied by sale price. So it is easier to read formulas. Now if we go to summary 1 and we want to update this column D again, I'll just get rid of this and we'll go to data and select the column D, A, B, C, D. This is D, and I'll select it like once we move our mouse to the start, it will be a black arrow downward, and we'll click here, or we simply click here and press Control space. Then it says table 2 category. If I scroll down to the end, you can see that instead of selecting all the column, which it normally does, it just selected the exact range. I'll press enter. Now this is a combination of table and other columns, so we'll have to update all of these. Q, this is Q, and the I is this here. Now you see this formula, and this is giving us the same results. There are few benefits. There is another thing I just want to show you, that in table design you can name this table. This is called data, and let's just say we name this as TBL, which is short for table. Now let's go back to summary 1, and you can see that SUMIFS, sum range, is data table and total sales column. This is how you can easily read what is going on. This is the most obvious benefit, apparent benefit. Then there is another benefit, which is that your data is limited till here, and whenever you add new rows, formulas will be updated automatically, and this is the most obvious benefit of having tables. Then there is another thing I want to show you, but first of all, I'll just quickly recreate these columns to the new table format, and instead of it says F this, or instead of column labels, it says the exact name, so it's easier to read formula. In previous video we got this data from different files, and these are monthly files we get every month, and at the end of each month we'll have more files, and when we press data refresh, it will simply refresh this data and add more if there is any, or if there was a change. So let's use this table instead of this and recreate all the summaries we did and see what is the benefit of using table. So in here I'll copy the headers which are using formulas. I'll paste here. Whenever you refresh, only this data will be updated, and this will be formulas we are going to introduce. So let's quickly do this. Total sales are quantity sold into sale price. I'll just do this wrap text, and let's update the formatting here, $2. Total cost will be quantity sold into purchase price. Profit per product will be sales less purchase price. You can see instead of A, B, C, the column labels, and 1, 2, 3, the row labels, it is using the exact names. So names are very good for the formulas and for the appearance, and we can easily identify what's going on. Total profit would be sales less costs. Commission, if you remember, was if quantity sold is less than 10, then total profit multiplied by 10%. Otherwise, total profit multiplied by 20%. I'll just auto adjust the fit. Our gross profit will be total profit less commission. Years will be year, and this will be date column here, and month will be month, and this date column here. This year month is saying year month 2. You can see here. This is because we already have a year month, and you cannot have same names for two different columns in a table. Therefore, we already have this year month. We'll just update this formatting to. There is another thing I want to show you. Once you update formatting, you go here and you can also type if you know how to do a manual formatting. For example, this was displayed as year, which is, let's say, 2018-MM01. So we don't actually need this column now because this is already there. Now let's name this table as data tab from file. You cannot have a space in there. That's why I'm trying to use it as capital and small letters to know what's going on. We got this data 3 tab, and now we'll quickly update our summaries with respect to this. For example, in here I will also convert this range to tables, and you'll see what is the benefit of having table. For example, so we'll convert this range into table. All you have to do is to go to insert tab and T for table. We have headers, so we'll make sure this is ticked and okay. Now our data is converted into tables. What is the benefit? You had this conditional formatting here, and if we go to conditional formatting, this list was till here. Whenever there is another row added beyond this 36, which was the range, then this won't show that name in there. You can see this is blank and this blank is row 36. There is nothing, no row 35, and there won't be even if you add, unless you go to data validation and update this to 37 and so on. Now I'm going to show you what is the benefit of using name manager. We go here, we select this column. This column is a range, and we want to name this range as something like salesperson. We can do this by simply clicking here and type salesperson, or you can press Control F3 to open name manager. You go for new, you name this as salesperson and enter. One thing you have to see is this is let's first rename this table, name this as salesperson table. Now if you go to Control 3 name manager, this salesperson, this is salesperson table, and this one here is name. Do an edit and you'll know. Refers to salesperson table and salesperson. It means whenever you add a new person, that will still be salesperson column in this salesperson table. So you don't have to worry about whether you add a new name and it won't appear here. But you have to update this first. So you go for, instead of this, we'll get rid of this. We'll press F3 to get a list of all the names. This is the name we just created, salesperson, and press OK. Now if we add something here like ABC or maybe DEF, then you'll get these name in here. And if we delete these, then there won't be any blank below this. So this is another benefit of using name manager. Now let's name this box as selected person. You can also do this using Control F3 name manager. Press enter. What is the benefit of this? Well, in here, let's update these formulas. Now instead of using all the B column, you'll just go here and select this. So now it says that it is looking up in salesperson table for sales, and let's update this column A to this. And now it says it is looking up in salesperson table salesperson. In G5, let's select this again, and it says selected person. Press enter. Now you see this formula is very, very good looking, and it's not just good looking, it's also helping us to make Excel, look and work in a great way, and not look for all this A or B column. Just look for the range which is required. And now this formula says this. You can also, instead of selecting this, you can, if you have named any cell which is being used again and again, you can just type name and it says selected person. You press tab and press enter. Now if I copy this and paste here, all I have to do is to change the salesperson to fire. I pressed F, it is suggesting me fire person. I'll do tab and enter. we change the input, so we'll change output, not input, because name is always looked up in the same way. So 5% and enter. So this is easier. You don't have to lock your cells, and Excel will be much lighter as compared to when you have huge data. Now we're going to change summary to, this is a subtotal formula, and we'll uncheck the totals and press OK. Now these are the people and we want to update this formula. For example, again here you have data table, and this data table has a column I from where you are using the sum range and you don't know what is I. Instead of that, let's update this formula. SUMIFS, go for data table, or sum range will be the total sales. Criteria 1 would be this, and this second criteria will be the person, and that's it. I'll just copy paste. Remember, I pasting, and before pasting I did alt semicolon to select the visible cells, so the cells in between are not updated by the formula, and that's it. Now you see that the SUMIFS is using total sales, and then from country you're checking it with A5, and then from salesperson you are specifying the criteria B5, and that's it. There you go. Now this is much better looking formula. Let's go to summary tab 1. I'll talk less and we'll do more using this formula. In data I, this was the sales, so it will be total sales. Data D will be now category. Data Q is date, and press enter. There is some problem because it's not picking the correct number. Previously it was 42,600, and after I update formula this is showing something else. So double checking again, this was IQ, IDQ, ID and Q. Yes, it was year month and we selected date. This date one will be year month, so instead of date it is year month. It's still not grabbing the correct one here because you are creating a text out of this, and this one here is an actual date. For example, if you want to update this here, year dash month 2, and we do this and dash and this. Now let's say we select, we'll just get rid of this, and in here we select 2, and this is fine. Let me give you an explanation of this. This is an actual date. If I copy and paste here, then this is formatted like this, which is date. As I always told you that once you go for short date, it will be looking like this. This one here, if I copy and paste as values, this is a text because you manually matched these two using and with a dash in there, and now there is a dash in there. This is not actually a date. In here you are doing the same. You have year and month, and you made these a combination of these two using a dash in between. Once you have a dash in between them, then it is considered as text in Excel. That's why we have to update this formula. Sometime this happens and you have to check what is the problem, and normally it's the text versus date or text versus numbers, anything like that. I'll just update these formulas here. Okay, there is a problem again cause you see this was blank. The problem was this, instead of locking we forgot to lock. Now let's update this and paste. I think this is going fine now. You remember there was a check total here, and whenever we do something wrong, maybe we forget something, then you can see that there is a check difference, and it means that there was a problem with your formula. Now again we have error in there here, and this is maybe in here because if I undo, then there are numbers in here but not once I paste the formula. And why is that so? I think I know that. This is because previously this was being picked up from this tab, and now we're using this tab to create summary, And in this tab, I didn't include these 2 months, and I have these 2 months in two separate files, which I will copy later to show you that how getting data will be automatically updated whenever you add new month. So we can just live with that for now, and we'll copy here, but in here the SUMIFS will be total costs, not sales. And I'll just copy paste as formula, paste as formula, paste as formula. And in here, instead of cost, it will be commission. You see, instead of going to the other tab and look for what column it was and update the column, we are simply changing the name and we are getting the output. Like, you want to change this, you just name this, you just change this name and everything will be fine. Now we only have errors in there because these 2 months are not included. So what we'll do is we go here and paste as formula. We don't need these two things, and press enter. Now we are calculating commission. Instead, we want to calculate total profit, which is 48,200. It is gross profit. Yep. Now it is fine. We'll just do a check total at the end. Copy paste as formula, copy paste as formula, and so on till the end. Now our check totals are fine, and that's it. Now we have updated all these formulas with this tab here. I'll just color this and we'll rename this as that data from files. These three tabs here are not needed anymore because we grabbed the data from Excel files directly. So we can delete these three tabs, or maybe we can hide these for now. And this is what we got. We created three summaries from this data. Now let's start creating a dashboard. Before creating dashboard, we'll go through something called pivot tables. We have this data. We can insert a pivot table and it will ask for the table range, which is data table from files, and it is selected, you can see. And we want to create this pivot table in a new worksheet, not existing, so we'll do OK for now. Now we want a sales by category table. We'll call this tab as Alt HOR, shortkey for renaming the tab, and we'll call this pivot tables. Now we'll do a date in rows, and we want total sales, and this is sum of total sales, and we need categories on the top. This is how we create a pivot table. In pivot table, if we open any of these, then it says Q1, then it says months. We don't want quarters or date. We only want year and month. These numbers here, we want to show these numbers formatted as showing no decimal places and commas. We can directly do this by selecting all of this and click here, or we can do this by going here, value field setting, number format, and we change number format like this and OK, and every number will be formatted accordingly. This is what we call a sales by category and month. Let's insert another pivot table from here. So we'll insert pivot table, but this time we'll use an existing sheet, which is this, and we'll do OK. This time we'll create a sales by manager pivot table, and this will be sales person, and let's use country, salesperson by country, and also category on the top. And we want total sales. We want this formatted as this, and there you go. Let's insert a row here, shift cell downs, so this is aligned. This is sales by salesperson and country. Now let's create another pivot table, which is we'll use existing sheet and use here, and this will be by country total sales. Now we want to add a chart for this, and this will be insert charts and click here, and by clicking here it means we are trying to add a chart from this data here. This will be a chart. Let's use a line chart, and it shows us the chart showing over the period of time how kitchen, living and washer sales are moving. Let's insert a sheet here and called it dashboard. Cut this chart and paste here. Let's go back and create another chart for this, and this one is insert. Let's do a data bars like this. Cut and paste here, and this is sales by country. Now we'll have another pivot table from data. Use existing sheet here, and let's create a by category sales. Formatting the numbers and call this sales by category. We created these two pivot charts from these two pivot tables. Let's create another chart for sales by category, and this will be a pie chart like this. Let's cut this and paste here. We'll create this dashboard later. It's just finishing and formatting and appearance, and create another chart from this pivot table, which is a map chart. Well, we cannot create a map chart directly from a pivot table, so what we'll here is I'll move this pivot table here. I'll copy this and paste as values. Now let's create a chart for map, and it will look like this. Once this is created, let's move this data. You can move this data by right click and select data, edit. This U3 will be R3, this U here will be R, this U here will be R. I'm just trying to move this selection to here. You cannot directly insert a chart for map from a pivot table, so we copied this data here, and now I'm trying to move the selection to here. Press OK, edit this, and instead of T this will be Q, and there we go. Now this one is selected here. We can get rid of this. We'll cut this chart and paste here. So in this case, let's get rid of these. We can right click here and say hide all field button on chart. This will hide buttons. We can go to pivot chart analyzer and click here to hide this pivot chart field like this, and there we go. Can also see that in all of these charts, kitchen is blue, living room is orange, washer is gray. Let's go to insert shapes and create a shape. Click here on text and start typing. This is kitchen. Move it to center and copy paste and name this as living room. Copy paste and name this as washer. I'm just trying to create things we need for our dashboard. Now go to click any of the chart and click pivot analyzer and insert slicer. In this slicer we'll need years and OK. These years here are basically, we can click on 2018 and it will only show 2018 in there. Well, it should show the months, and for that let's go to pivot table, go here and expand all entire field and go back, and now you can see months in there. Let's say we want 2020, 2022. We can select any of these and this data will change. Now we want only one slicer for all of these. For example, in this case we go for report connection. We connect with pivot table 2 and 3. Now once I click on 2022, all this data will change. This and this, because we connected this with, let's double check. There are 4 pivot tables, so I'm connecting it with all of these. Let's add another slicer for country. There is one more thing which you can do, of course. You click on this chart, and instead of chart 1, let's call this chart sales by category, and let's call this pie chart, this one here, as by sales rep. I think we also need to rename these pivot tables. This pivot table is sales by category and month. This pivot table is sales by sales rep and country. This one is sales by category. This one is sales by country. Now we go to dashboard, we click report connections. Now we can see these names. Since this is country and we don't want to use it for the country, because that country is already showing us which country has how much sales. And last, we'll add another slicer for insert slicer. This will be category. Okay, now let's report these connections. Sales by categories are already showing us the sales by category, so we don't need this connection. Instead, we need connection for all of these 3 charts. Once this is done, let's move things. We'll have countries. Then we'll have categories. You can hold Alt button from keyboard, then it will automatically adjust this according to any of the columns. So we have same width, and for length we just want it to be enough to show all of these. We got this. Now let's work on the charts one by one. This living room here should have a color more like this, and this should have a color like this. Once we have these colors, we can get rid of this here and this here. We can get rid of this by hiding all field buttons. We don't need these totals, this title. We can get rid of this and this. Now let's do this one by one. Let's move this here and this one here, this one like this. I want to show this as a black background. You can also show as white. Double click here and it will open this box here. Map area, you can click on only regions with data, then it will hide the other countries. Map labels, if you want, you can show all or best fit. We can change this to our best view. We can also add data labels. This one is good enough. Let's move to this one here. We can add data labels and show percentage. New line, good enough. You can also change this, like maybe bold. And in here, let's move this kitchen in these boxes here, this pivot table here, and like this. This shape is now 0.5 and 315. Let's do 0.5, 315. Now this is 0.85, 315. Now all of these are okay. Let's move this here and this one here and this one here and this one here. Let's move this chart and these boxes. I'm just trying to make this look good. And it will go here, and this will be like this and this. Fair enough. Now if you want to change anything else in there, you can always do that. For example, there are many for chart designs. You can select any of these, maybe like this, and this one is like this, and this one will be like this, and this. We can get rid of chart title. Let's do this another way. Let's hide this tabs only. We can go to view, grid lines, formula bars, and heading. Once this is done, you can select all, go for home, and make your background black. We can move these slicers to the top so we have better looking tables. Okay, so we go to slicer and we can go for columns. Slicer, columns. We want these columns like this. And for country, again, we want more columns till we can fit all of these. And for this, we need 3 columns. Let's say it will be here and there. This height here is good, which is 1.90. Let's change its height to 1.90 so all of these slicers look same in height. Now we'll move this to here. We'll move this here and like this and like this. Now it looks good. We'll have this chart, these boxes almost in the center. We want this here and like this, this, and this will be this. If you want to align these 3, we can go to page layout, align, distribute vertically, and there we go. This is our dashboard. Now we can click on any of these and our data will change accordingly. For example, if you want to look 2023, then these are all 2023 sales, 22. And same for country. For example, if you want to look for Canada only or Mexico only, or you can click here and multi-select any 2 countries. There is another thing I want to show you here. For example, we have missing lines here. These are because in pivot tables we have these blanks, and these blanks mean there was no sale of kitchen in the month of January. So what we can do is go to pivot table analyzer, go for options, and for empty cells show 0, type 0 in here. Same, go for all the tables, 0 here. This way our graphs won't break. Now let's go back to dashboard, and now you can see if it is 0, then these lines are showing 0. You can add many things in there if you want, like titles, maybe colors. For example, I think a black would be good here. Go for home, color, and automatic with a bold. It looks good. That's it. If you want to show the data labels here, then it will show you what was the amount. You can clear this filter. You can click on living room and it will show living room only, and we can again clear this data. So this was it. We created this beautiful dashboard and these summaries. Now I'm going to show you how to update the data every month. For example, this was the data which was imported directly into the Excel. And let's say we got new data for the current month or the previous month, and we want to refresh or update our reports according to that. I'm going to paste here 23/7, which is July 23, and now we are going to refresh Excel to see whether it updates to July 23. In Excel, our data from files, if you open the date filter, then you can see our latest data is till June 23. If we go to dashboard and select 2023 in here, then you can see that our last month is June. In summary 1, you can see July and August columns are empty. Let me open these for you. Now let's go to dashboard, go to data tab and refresh all. Once you click refresh all, it will wait for some time because it's updating the data in background. Let's go to data tab, and if you go for date filter here, you can see now that you have July 23 in here. Let's go back to dashboard and go for data and refresh all. Now you can see only refresh imported the data and refresh all imported the data, plus it updated pivot tables and dashboard, because pivot tables always need a refresh to update data. Now you can see there is a July month here, and if we go to summary 1, then there is a July 23 here. That's all we have to do while doing a refresh. Let me show you another example where I'm going to add 23/8, which is August 23, and let's go back to Excel and go to data and refresh all and wait. You can see it says running background query. You have to wait till it is updated. Now you can see August month is updated in here. If we go to dashboard, then we'll have to go for data and refresh all again, and now you can see our numbers changed and we can see month of August in there. This is how we can automatically update the data whenever a new data is available, or if we want to update any previous month, then we can replace the previous files, and all we have to do is to refresh and everything will update automatically. If you are interested in more beautiful dashboard, then I will be creating another video soon on dashboard only, because if we go more deep into this topic, then this video will be very long. So I'll be creating a new dashboard like this soon, and will give you a overview and tutorial on how to do that. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more Excel tutorials. I'll see you soon in the next video.